Hey, that's all worked out really rather well, actually. That's all worked out really rather well. Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. Oh, hang on just a minute. I need a little thing here. There we go. Do that, will you? There we go. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Hello, everybody on FFT Radio and out on Rumble and on YouTube. Paul English Live, number 144. Lovely weather. Everything's going spiffing at the moment. Fingers crossed. Here we go. Welcome to the show, everybody. Have you all got World Cup fever? I haven't. Might have something else, though. Need some ointment for it. Grooving away there, you know, when that's starting. I'm just checking all my technical trousers and my buttons. Anyway, so far, no walls of echo or crazy stuff. Hope you're all doing pretty well. It's, what's the date? It's June the 18th. Did you know it's the longest day of the year on Saturday? How did that happen? How did that happen? Absolutely amazing. Also, we've been having attack of the seagulls round here and the magpies. We don't know who's going to win. Actually, they don't fight one another, which is something that we would like them to do. We've my neighbour's a good stout chap has unfortunately taken up to feeding the seagulls. He likes to feed the seagulls, and this means that there's this sort of massive morning cacophony around about 5 o'clock in the morning, which is not too bad because, of course, it's very light at the moment. But it's driven one of my sons crazy. And he invested the other day in one of these pump-action shotgun water pistols. Yeah, that's how keen he is on the whole thing. Anyway, one man who probably doesn't have a pump-action water shotgun pistol but probably wants one is Eric Von Essex. Eric, hello, good evening and welcome to the show.
Hello. And, well, thank you very much for having me on. And this is a show 144. I mean, that's gross, isn't it? Sorry, I'll come back with that one.
You've been saving that up all day.
Yes. I've been corking it up all day. I had to let it out tonight.
That's fantastic. I think we've got a guest rocking up, hopefully in about 30 minutes' time. Andy's going to be joining us from WTF Up. Yeah, Andy's... Oh, very good. You're on form tonight, Eric. This is smashing, isn't this super? Yeah, no, it's jolly good. And, so Andy's going to be joining us. Did a couple of shows with him recently on the Merry Men Show, which none of you will know about yet, but we're getting merrier and merrier every Friday. And so I'm just going to start the show off by letting you know tonight that you're all in for an early night because we're not running for 3 hours this evening because I must watch the football. No, that's a joke. I don't even know if there's any football on. I just thought I'd upset you even more than you possibly already are. No, we're just running for the 2 hours this evening, so we're going to wind up at round about 2 minutes to 10, something like that. That's when the show will end this evening. This may become a regular feature simply because, I don't know about you, Eric, but I've become a bit of a radio tart, and I'm behind the mic so often at the moment, and I'm quite enjoying it, but I'm beginning to think I'm sort of over-presenting myself, so we're going to pull it back a little bit on Thursday nights, and as I said, one of the reasons is I'm on for an hour with Gary on Mondays, which is... It lasts about 5 minutes in my head. It's such a fast show. That's on before you on a Mondays, which is really good. And then we've now the Merry Men Show, which runs from 7 till 9 on on a Friday. Good grief. Tomorrow is also now become sort of a regular feature. So there goes my Friday nights down at the pub, which, as you know, I used to go to the pub every Friday night. Eric, you know me.
Well, yes. And let's face it, though, you're with better friends, better company on FFT radio, aren't you? So,
I
it's probably
think
the best decision. Yes.
I think you're absolutely right. It really is. Yeah, it's absolutely marvellous around here. It is. So, and also there's another show going to start on a Friday just before the Merry Men. Not for a couple of weeks. I think sometime early July. Mel Kate is going to be taking a show from 6 till 7. So that's 3 hours now on Friday evenings. You see, it's slowly getting filled up with yakking people like me and Eric and everybody else and yourselves, we hope. So, yeah, no, it's all looking pretty good and jolly. Shout out to everybody on WBN 324. I rudely failed to even acknowledge you last week. I was having so much technical doodads. And also, I know what it was. We switched it round. So I had the guest on in the first hour. And when we got to the end of the second hour, I didn't know where I was. This happens quite a lot, actually. I got completely disoriented and had to go and see a psychiatrist the next day because I didn't know what time it was. Yeah.
Bit of trouble. But I think anybody that goes to see a psychiatrist needs their head tested, personally.
They do. They absolutely do.
Yes.
Anyway, let's just get this World Cup crap out of the way. That's right. Because I think there's something very interesting, and there's a score that they're not putting on the screens, Eric. I don't know if you've heard reports about... Yeah, there's an actual score, the one that I would be much more interested in viewing, which is the number of pints consumed by the Scottish football fans, the Scots in Boston. I don't know if you've read anything about this, but over the weekend, they actually won a football match, their opening match the other day. This is much more interesting to me than the football stuff. And apparently the planes that arrived in the States, they'd drunk all the beer on the plane. This is the first thing.
No.
This is impressive.
Scots
yeah, they
people drinking
apparently
consuming alcohol.
Well, they get very thirsty after eating all that porridge. I'm sorry if you're a Scot. Yeah. I actually like Scots as well, but we've got to have a bit of fun. It's very impressive as well if you're into this sort of thing, which I'm not, of course. But they drank the plane dry, and then they started to drink Boston dry, so much so that they had to call out for emergency supplies. And the numbers have come in that apparently over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and early Monday, 4 times as much beer was consumed as is normally consumed. 4 times as much.
Really? Well, I haven't seen an advertising poster advertising, was it Drink Canada Dry? Because I might go there and do it. Sorry.
I think they actually did have to contact a brewery up in Canada to get more stuff shipped in, which is impressive. So don't you think it would be really good to have at the bottom of the screen, apart from the football score, a sort of like a milometer, an odometer, a pintometer, and it's just ticking over all the time the pints are... That'd be much more interesting, wouldn't it? You know, see how much beer he's getting drunk.
9 o'clock news, where you remember I think it was the 80s or 90s when they used to show darts on the television, and they had these, and they're always blokes with big beer guts. And instead of going for darts, they went for drinks. And it was, is he paralytic? No, he said, and it was, what was it now? Smith and Jones. Do you remember those two? After Not Like
I do remember Alas Smith and Jones, the comedy pairing.
That's the one. That's the one. And what it was is instead of playing darts, they're actually getting absolutely sozzled. Because, they'd aim their hands as if they're just about to play throw a dart, and then suddenly it'd go down and either pick up a glass of whiskey or a pint. You got to watch it. It's not funny to mention it, but you just got to watch that particular one. So there we go.
No, it's good. They're actually giving the scores in, what was it, volumes of alcohol or something, 134 units or something like that. Was it 180 milligrams or something like that?
Yes, and he's gone for the wrong one now. Oh, he's gone for a spirit. Oh, it's gone down and it's coming up. Sorry.
On the ocky now. Yeah, it was. Mel Smith was particularly bloated and looked like a perfect darts player, didn't he? He was equipped in the midriff region to create that thing. Yeah. By the way, on a technical front, because I've been really busy right up to the show, so I'm actually kind of breathing one sigh of relief that everything appears to be going out okay. We appear to be not streaming on YouTube. Again, I have no idea why. Nothing has changed with that. It's exhausting. But it may be, I'm beginning to get, I hope it's this, it may be that I'm starting to get interfered with. I don't mean in that way. I've got, do you have an account on X, Eric?
Yes.
You do? So do I.
But I don't really use it once. I only use it to advertise my show. That's all
Me neither. And I don't use it very much. But this week, I sought to put a post up. I got one up and it had the words Rupert Lowe in it. And ever since I put that post up, I can't post. It's really weird. And I've tried different browsers and all this kind of stuff. Maybe people out there have had the same sort of problem. I had different browsers and all those sorts of things. So it just won't let me. And I've barely, all the stuff's so innocent that I put up. Really, it is, honest. It's quite tame stuff. It's just relays of other things. And a bit like you, I've never really got fully into it because I'm just busy, boiling me underpants and things like that. There's things to do.
I agree with you.
You can't sit on that thing all bloody day long. Yeah, so it looks as though that's not happening. All the indicators are here at this end that we are connected and streaming to YouTube, but I can see that there's zero chat going on. So if you're hearing this in YouTube, not that you probably are, I couldn't care less really, Eric. It's just one of those things. We'll just have to dump it.
Actually, Paul, it just says waiting for Paul English live at 8 o'clock. Mm. And you sent a message in the chat and YouTube, and I have as well. Both of them have gone through, but nobody else can hear it. It's just 5 people are waiting.
Well, there's not much I can do about it. Everything's, oh dear, it's just one of these things. The place to go, of course, is FFT Radio, and there is a chat there. So I've got the chat from, hi everybody in the FFT Radio chat. Hi Alice and Billy Silver and John Possum Hales. They're all coming over here, you see, and Diane. And hi Eric Von Essex. I don't know who he is. He's over in the Rumble chat. And Dennis Falcon. Oh, yes. Hi Dennis. And Herodotus Get Something or other. So hi Herodotus. Yeah, you don't mind me abbreviating your name because I'm a very well-spoken chap round here, and we can't be using language like that at 8:10 on a Thursday evening. But yeah, and one other little thing whilst I'm remembering all my technical doodads. If you're currently listening on FFT Radio, you may be listening on what is now the old stream. Now, I don't know if any of you noticed, but we were having dropouts repeatedly, and I couldn't get to the bottom of it. I was boiling my head in the screen for about 3 hours today. So in irritation at not being able to find the reason why it was happening or a way to fix it, we've got a different streaming service. So if you're currently listening on FFT Radio, you might be getting a semi-decent signal. It might be pretty good right now. But I would ask you to refresh the screen. Just refresh it. It will load the new streaming player that we've got. I've only just stuck it in place, but it seems to work fine. It's the same system, but with a different hosting provider. And I'm hoping we're going to get a slightly more solid and robust audio stream for the platform because I was speaking with now. Oh, I'm all name dropping now these days, Eric. I was speaking to a chap, the People's Lawyer. Have you heard of the People's Lawyer? He's quite well known out in internet circles. Good chap, really great chap.
Yes.
I had a fantastic call with Mark, the bowler hat farmer, who I never asked him whether he's actually wearing the bowler hat or not. I just assume that he is all the time, really. I had a great chat with him on Monday because he'd been gadabouting at the weekend, going to all sorts of conferences and things like this and giving a speech and lots of positive things, which we've got to follow up, which, of course, we don't have enough resources to follow up all the time. But he put me in touch with David, who is the People's Lawyer. Had a great chat with him. Turns out, even though he's from Manchester, and I don't hold that against him, and he didn't hold the fact that I was a Yorkshireman against me, so we got on very, very well. He's actually down here in the southeast. He's run away from the north too, like I have, although runaway is probably not the right way to describe it. But anyway, he's starting in July as well on Tuesday evenings, I think it is. He's going to be on from 6 till 7. We're going to shuffle some things around. So the shows are building up. And this is all good stuff. I just thought I would share that with everybody and let you all know. So it's looking pretty good.
It is.
Have I got any more laundry to air in public about this stuff? I don't think I do. I think that's it. It might pop up a bit later.
I wonder if anybody would like thinking about a Food for Thought radio a conference or something like that in the future. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? But where would it be held? At Bognor or somewhere, or?
Well, on a farm, obviously.
On a farm, yes.
I think you'd have to have it on a farm, Eric. What do you think? I think you would.
Yes, I think so, yes. Cornwall, maybe, who knows? Or maybe somewhere central. Trouble is, places like Birmingham, it's raining all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's something for future events. That would be quite interesting, Food for Thought radio event. but apparently we're going to have heat wave in the next couple of days. I'll believe it when I see it and feel it. Is it very hot where you are, Paul?
No, it's not. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's sort of blah. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's just blah.
Well,
it's blah.
Because today is National Spiffing Day. So is it spiffing? That's what it is. It's jolly beezer and spiffing.
Yeah. There are people, by the way, sorry to go all technical again. There are people rocking up in YouTube, but obviously it says, Houston, we've got a problem. Please, I don't know why. It's just... the fact is we don't need these other platforms, he said, all confidently. Actually, we do, really, because I know you're all comfy in there. But I'm going to urge you to get over to fftradio.com and get into the chat there. There is a full-blown chat room in there, and it's pretty nifty, you know. And this is just part of my sort of belt and braces approach to saying, when push comes to shove, and if you've seen some of the news with the censorship stuff and all the blather that they're coming out with,
yes,
you know, it's like creating additional boat holes down the line, like resting places where we're going to end up as we move along. So the FFT radio chat, and I'm looking at all three at the moment, that's fine. So if you can't hear anything, then you can't hear me telling you this, which is... Have you got the gift of telepathy, Eric? Can you actually project your thoughts into the brains of other people? I can't do that yet.
Well, I'll try, but it seems that YouTube is okay now because the chat's going. Yes, and Alice Gorgeous is in there, and she just said, "Go to FFT Radio." And
go and F off.
God evening, God evening from YouTube. So it's not good evening; it's God evening.
No, it is. I think that's a good thing. Could somebody, if you can hear us in YouTube, can you just say, yes, we can hear you, shut up, you're banging on too much about YouTube.
Yeah.
Just write something in there, that would be great.
Yes. I mean, unless the chat's working, I don't know. I'm going to refresh my screen to see if anything will happen.
I always think you're slightly better when you're refreshed, you know. I always do. I always think you're slightly better when you're refreshed. Go off and get a bit of refreshment. Now, there's somebody here who's not the guest, but it's his Royal Anoraks here. Hold the line for a second, Royal Anorak. We've got a guest coming in 10 minutes, but you're more than welcome to pitch in. It'd be great to have you. Yeah. Oh, he can only hear us. I'm not letting him talk, you know. That's how nasty I am tonight.
Sod.
I know.
Poor sod.
He's just got to sit there and take it. No, he's great. We'll bring him in a minute or two. Isn't there, am I very much mistaken, which is highly likely, is this that Makerfield by-election day today? Is it June the 18th, or have I got confused? You know that
I have the foggiest idea.
There's a guy called Andy Goofball or something who's in the Laborious Party, and he's standing in a place called Makerfield. Somebody shout out in the chat and let me know and put me out of my misery. It might not be now, but I think something's going on today. And, it's all going to be great. No, there's a lot of talk about the fact that Restore have got a candidate there. We're going to talk a bit of politics, right? Because I know it's vomitous, right? I've got that, right? But it does affect us. So we're looking for the least worst solution. That's always my sort of idea. Anyway, Reform are there, and Restore. And, of course, much of the talk, I don't know if you've caught any of it, Eric, is, no, Restore should not put a candidate. Rupert and Nigel should kiss and make up, whatever that might mean, so that they don't split the vote. And this guy, Andy Burnham, I think that's his name, it's just slowly, it's tragic that I've remembered it. And... he'll get in, and then if he gets in, he's going to make a pitch to get Starmer out, and then he's going to take over. And in my view, it'll get even worse. I'm serious.
Yes.
I know it's going to get worse. It just is. I mean,
these people are children. They've got childish views of life. That's what any communist type attitude is. They haven't grown much above teenager. If that.
Yeah.
They've got child minds. And they think everything's simple. You know, when you're a kid and you think, oh, I want to be a fighter pilot, and then I'm going to do this, and then I become a millionaire. And you think it's so simple to do until the reality of life hits you in the face. No, it ain't simple. And if it was, everybody would be doing it. You know, that's it. It's like standing on a rake. It comes and hits you in the face.
It does.
You know what I mean?
It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
I think the trouble, they haven't got beyond teenage view. That's the problem. And
I know that I haven't got any magic potion to make that happen. Have you? I mean, it's kind of rich coming from us because we act like children half the time, but at least we're good-natured children. I think. Don't you? It's true.
Wow.
It's true. There's no wrong with it either. You've got to let your hair down every now and again, or get a bouffant hairdo, Eric, like you did the other month, which is just
Don't rub
so
it in. Don't rub it
it's
in.
magnificent. It's magnificent. And it really is. I'm still reeling from it.
Well,
I'm kind of jealous, really. I need to go to the same barber that you go to. He did an absolute wonderful job. And I think he did. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And I'll tell you something, a nice thing about my bouffant hairstyle, I can send it off to the dry cleaners anytime I want. And it comes back nice and clean. So I don't have to wash it.
There it is. The guy from Amazon delivers it. Ooh, Eddie, your hair's different every week. Oh, yeah, I go to this site on Amazon. They've got fantastic online hairdressers. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That's brilliant. No, it's fantastic. We're having a laugh, aren't we?
Hey,
it's great.
Good.
Hey,
do you remember Spitting Image, one man in his wig, when they take the mickey out of one man and his dog, and it was Bruce Forsyth whistling his wig along. Come on, boy, come on.
I do. I think I do, actually, yeah. I like Bruce, though. I don't know what... Bruce wasn't a bad one, was he? He don't tell me he was a bad one. I hope he wasn't a bad one. I know that...
So. Well, he came from where my mum came from, and he was born just round the corner from her in Edmonton. And his mum
I thought you were going to say an egg. I thought you were going to say an egg, because that's where we all come from, isn't it, really? But still, yeah. Oh, wow. Well, that's quite, yeah. I quite liked him, Anthea and all that kind of stuff in the 70s. Yeah. He was quite, he had a sort of, I don't know where people like that are made. I mean, how can you be so buoyant about everything and sort of clocks and stuff that they were giving away? It's all, you know, I'm a bit more lugubrious.
That was the other one.
You shouldn't say things like that. You're not supposed to use foul language on this show, Eric. I did tell you.
Well, do you remember that? The wig's parked on his face, covering his face. He's got in the wrong place, but it's a vast improvement.
Yeah, it would be. There was something rather spiteful about that man. He couldn't hide it either. I always felt he was slightly spiteful and very sarcastic towards the people that he was doing his tricks on. And
yes.
all that kind of stuff, you know.
I really couldn't say it. And he's the wonderful
I didn't
Debbie
want to
McGay.
say it because I knew you would. Yeah, no, that's great.
Yes. Is she still around? I think she's still knocking around. Isn't she, Debbie McGay, the beautiful Miss Debbie McGay?
Well, I haven't called her recently, Eric, so I wouldn't know. But I'll give her a call tomorrow. Are you still... I've never...
on the show.
Yeah, no... Yeah, Debbie, come on. Let's have a chat.
Come on, Deb.
And, yes. What else was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So, the BBC, right? I think I'm getting close now to joining the ranks of the not paying the TV license anymore. I think it's time to do it.
Excellent.
I've just got the capacity to take these things on now. I've got tremendous, vast capacity. I can't get all my buttons in a row for the shows usually, but although today's gone, fingers crossed, okay. But, I was listening to, Monkton, Mr. Monkton. What's his first name?
Yes.
I can't remember his first name.
I can't remember his first name, but I like him. He was quite a good bloke.
Well, he was on a radio show this morning that I was tuning into and listening to, and some of the stuff he said I thought was blather, because he was banging on about the fact that the only chance for the country is reform, and it's not. Actually, it's still a halfway house, and it's a compromise, and it ultimately cannot work. And maybe if you're listening to me thinking, Paul's putting all his eggs in the Rupert Lowe basket. I'm not. I don't have any eggs. And as you know, I don't sort of participate in this kind of thing. Although I have to say, as I told you before, it's the only political party I've ever sent any money to. I sent them 20 quid to join. I've not had a chance to do anything much after that. But much of the commentary around them I still like. And that guy, Frank Reiter, who I think many people will have seen his clip, very articulate man that was stopped on the street and spoke for about 12 minutes brilliantly about our condition in a highly detailed way. So, and he's quite funny as well. It's quite self-deprecating. He said, well, I've been talking like this to my wife for years, and she was quite glad that I was out of the house, or words to that effect, And he's the guy that came up with this phrase, I don't want to live in a market, I want to live in a nation. And that we need T-shirts with that on, because that really is spot on. You boil it all down to these bang statements. That's what's needed to get through. Anyway, Monkton was basically saying, it's this thing about they're going to divide the vote and blah, 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 blah. But I can't see it that way. I know people go, we've got to be pragmatic about these things. But frankly, I don't think we're in a pragmatic phase. The whole place is a lunatic asylum. And the reason I wanted to just mention that was to actually just sort of come into the point I was going to make, or to sort of bring up. And we might even talk about that when Andy joins us. And I'll bring you on, Mr. Anrak, very shortly. The rape report released by Restore this week.
Yes.
And I don't know if any of you out there have given it a cursory glance, a slightly detailed glance. I haven't read it cover to cover. It's about 240 pages. I don't think it necessarily needs to be read cover to cover. There wasn't anything in there that I was not expecting to see. But why it's a powerful document, I think, is, first of all, it's been thoroughly researched, so all the information's accurate. There are a whole series of interviews with these poor girls who have been the victims of this systemic evil that has been running through the nation for a long time, of which I have to address all of us, including myself. We're all culpable in some way or another for this arising amongst us. And so the fact that just this very large document exists that's been thoroughly put together in pretty good time, I don't know how long they've been on it, maybe 6 months or something like that. It's just an excellent document. I suggest you all get a copy, even if you are feeling a bit timid about reading it. You should get one, because I'm assuming, Eric, and maybe you're not the best person to ask on this, you'll understand for positive reasons. I'm assuming that the mainstream media have basically stonewalled this and have probably given it very little coverage indeed. Are you aware that some big thing on the BBC or anything like that? I'm not. Not that I watch it, so I probably wouldn't be aware of it.
The words Jimmy Savile come to mind, because how did that man get away with it for so long? And I think this is being allowed to get away with, because I started reading that report today, and it really upset. It really upset me, some of the things that's in it. But I'd advise everybody to read that report. I haven't read it fully, I admit, but it is a very, very sad picture of what people have been through. It's a living hell. But what I want to do is look up, and I haven't got the figures yet, but I want to look up the rape. It's a weird thing to look up. It's the rape statistics of World War II when the Americans came over here, and then look up the rape statistics of today and compare them, and see if there's any big difference. And I think that's going to be quite an interesting statistics to look up. So that's something I've got in hand at the moment, because I remember when my sister was young. Well, she's much older than me, but when she was younger, she used to walk around coming back from dancing because of that, and she was as safe as houses. Nobody would touch her. And my mother used to walk around during World War II, and she said, the thought of getting attacked or raped didn't enter into her mind. There's servicemen all over the place. Why? Because men were gentlemanly, and if anybody laid a finger on a woman, there'd be about 20 blokes coming to the woman's aid. So I think that times have really changed.
Well, I think it's very different, though, Eric. I mean, we're talking about here... We're talking about a culturally systemic system of evil, but it's not just the rapists that are part of it. I think, this is the key thing really with looking at the document. I've mentioned all the main power centres of this nation, and not just this one, have been overthrown. They've been infiltrated, warped, and everybody's been retrained in this bizarre, utterly ridiculous ideology that is going to produce misery. In other words, the other side, the globalists, let's just call them that, are working like maniacs to create as much misery in the world as they possibly can. It's surprising.
But it's demonic.
Well, it is. They must get a sort of energetic glee from it. It really is.
Because they feed off of negative energy, and that's why they're trying to create negative energy. But also, I mean, I've been searching for this. Now, people used to, and I used to laugh at Mary Whitehouse. You probably did, but now now I've got a lot more mature. I think she was a marvellous woman, and I remember an interview many, many years ago where she said a law was changed, and I can't remember it verbatim. And she said overnight, when she was teaching, the attitude of the nation changed, literally overnight. And this is in the 60s, and I'm trying to put some meat on the bone. And I've looked on YouTube, and I can't find that interview anywhere. If anybody else remembers it, I'll be very grateful, because I know it was, I was ever so young when I saw it, and it sort of lodged in the back of my mind, but I can't remember it in full. So, anybody else?
Wasn't that?
Yeah, no, I mean. Hello, Paul. Another Paul.
Good
Just
evening.
hello. Here's Royal Anorak. Hi. Thanks for being patient there in the background. That was great. Thank you.
I might be a bit croaky, so I do apologise if my voice goes really high pitched. It's because I'm not. It's not because.
Oh, this will make it more amusing though for the listeners. This is quite good, actually.
It will.
That's not
They'll
too
think
bad.
Minnie Mouse is on here. I guess that with regards to what you were saying about infiltration, this is what Kennedy talked about, wasn't it? Well, JFK talked about in one of his speeches about the infiltration of all our services and.
Yes.
Every bit of it, every part of it, and I was talking about this at work that if the news was legit, was genuine, if you were a newsreader and you got something about children who are being murdered or raped or whatever, you'd have some sort of sympathy for that when you'd feel upset or you'd show some emotion. But these people don't, do they? They just So they either know that what they're telling us is a pack of lies, or they are government stooges who have been brainwashed not to have any empathy whatsoever, and just be stonewashed. You know what I mean?
I think the latter myself. I think, the training is considerable, and this is what I think. When we talk about the fact that you can talk with them, but they cannot hear you. That's kind of what I'm addressing. They don't hear. This. Also, another quality that they seem to hold universally amongst them is that there's no shame. They never get embarrassed about what they've done, and they're never wrong. And this means you're dealing with a kind of incomplete mind to some degree. I mean, I don't know how to describe it really, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about because you'll have bumped across people. They're like, they never colour up. They never get embarrassed at their mistakes because they don't make them, you see. And I think this is part of the ideology because they're the knights on shining armour in their own head. How could you possibly oppose this? We are going to make everybody equal. And we're going, you're insane. You're insane. And they are. They're not sane. I mean, they're not sane, these people, are they?
Well, I remember watching some years ago where they were talking about how many children go missing in America alone, they were talking about they categorise it per state rather than a national problem, and it was like something like 400,000 children per state, or depending on the state. Obviously, somewhere like Alaska probably hasn't got 400,000 people in it, but and across Europe as well, like Italy,
it's everywhere.
They go missing is absolutely.
I know it's everywhere. I was listening to Mark Atwood. Which is going to be my intro for bringing Andy on, who's now in the studio. Hi, Andy. I'll bring you in a second. And Mark Atwood, who I've met, who came down here about a year and a half ago and bought me a curry, and I've sent him a message saying he needs to come again because I want another one. But Mark's a very engaging guy. He did a little sort of 10-minute presentation about it today. He was saying that since World War II, the statistics would indicate that 22,000 children per day go missing. Per day.
Per day?
Per day, fueling this satanic agenda. Yeah, look, it's all interlinked with probably the Epstein stuff, the whole use of children as some kind of currency, because we're dealing with demonic entities. I don't know how else to describe it. It's completely, from our perspective, rightly, it's abnormal, it's unhinged, and the children are getting it in the neck from everything. Anyway, just hold your fire, gents, because Andy is with us here in the studio. Andy, thank you for being patient and welcome to the show.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
That's great. How have you been?
Busy. I've tried to update the website with the forms that we've done for the schools for the Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7 installation, obviously the activation process. Been working with Kel Marie. And so we've actually built a Facebook page that's gone live. I believe it was either yesterday or the day before. So we're in the process of getting ourselves off the ground. We're working together. So we're doing a collab on a page called Soul Mothers Rising, Children's Schools and Digital Control. Because as you're on the topic of the children, we all know they're the ones being targeted right now and in a level that we just haven't seen. We haven't seen it. We're all banging about digital ID and forgetting that the kids are the ones getting it done on a daily basis. And there's already been major leaks of all their data and the parents, but theirs are how losing their thumbprints, their fingerprints, their palm prints, and also the facial recognition. Well, they can't change that. That's gone for life.
Yeah, I mean, to set the scene here, Andy, with what you do, just because many of the listeners here won't have heard you before. By the way, Andy's been on a couple of times with Robin Hood on the Merry Men show on Fridays. We had a cracking show last Friday. It was really good stuff, and that's why Andy's here now, because we had a great after-show chat as well. But maybe you could just tell the listeners here a little bit about your entire personal life history. Now, what your focal point is and stuff. You can talk about ice hockey if you want, although that's maybe for later. But and what WTF up is, and just pitch it at us so that everybody can get clued in.
Well, basically, I mean, obviously, we're all aware of the pandemics that we had last time round.
Yep.
And at the same time that the pandemic was on, we had so-called key workers. These people that were handing over cash in shops. But had to wear a mask, walking around with more tubs of the sort of cleanser as much as they can. But at the same time, we had 5G towers thrown up left, right, and centre, and everybody just saw them. Getting 1 minute you would drive past the street, and the next minute you go past the next day and it's up, and you're like, well, where did that come from? And let's be honest, there's not one person that can turn on and tell me that since then we've got better phone signal, you've got faster internet. I've got worse phone signal ever since they've been up, and they're so close than what we ever had before. So obviously they eventually then went on to starting to look into the EMFs, seeing exactly how they've changed, and then I started to look into viruses in the different parts of the world where viruses are affected. Obviously you've got you've got Ebola currently going off in Africa at the moment. At the same time, they're adding 35,000 5G towers, which when I started to obviously look further into it, I've got to be honest, I wasn't one for that. I was sitting there believing that. I always got brought up with flesh and blood. We're flesh and blood. You go through school, you're flesh and blood. I didn't put the two and two together that you're actually an electromagnetic being. And, when you sit back and you start to look back at it now, at the same time the 5G towers went up, we were then thought defibrillators were going on every single street corner.
That's
and
right.
You're like, why is that?
Can I just add to that? Because what you're saying there is spot on, because I saw somebody showed me a video of an engineer who was putting these 5G towers up, and he'd basically taken a video of the motherboard that's within one of these towers, and it said COVID-19 on it.
Yeah, I've seen the same video. I mean, and also you got 5 Mark G Steel, who has shed a lot of light on this, and along with Blade Runner, are going round, and they've managed to acquire, let's say, a lot of these devices and things, and none of it's coming back good. I mean, when you see these the installers like you were talking about there, they've actually got. If you actually get close enough to the towers, they've all got massive things saying to stay away from biological beings. You see, sort of like, all right, you're going to throw these up literally. And the thing is how many of them now? I've got 5 schools in the vicinity of, let's say, 3 miles of where I am, and every one of those schools have got either a tower on the ground or within, I would say, maybe 100 feet. And the children are more susceptible, so they're obviously a higher content of water. They've obviously got thinner skin. They've also got thinner skulls, so you got the blood-brain barrier getting breached. So then obviously we then looked into the Wi-Fi 6 and the Wi-Fi 7, which started to. You remember the song from last year where all the kids were singing it? You even had the Prime Minister going round in the class, and he was sitting there and he was doing the 6 and 7. And there's just too many things because obviously they tell you, they just don't tell you. That has always been the case, hasn't it?
Yes.
But these new upgrades are going from the last Wi-Fi that was in, which is still a massive amount, but they were kicking out around about 10 million pulses a second. The new version, which is not tested on any children, it's not been tested on long-term effects, but they're going into over 10,000 schools. They've all been installed, as far as I'm aware. They were getting installed from March to the end of May. Potentially, you might get a few that have crossed over because of his 10,000 schools, and then they're going to start the activation. Now, with no testing and obviously no certificates, Lloyd's of London, who do all the insurances, they actually refuse to cover EMF damage. And that tells you something, because they don't cover floods on a floodplain for your house insurance. So
right.
they only cover things that they know they would end up paying out on. And obviously, everybody thinks that the schools are the ones that have got these deals. It's not. It's actually the councils, it's the contractors, all the ones who own the rest of our infrastructure are getting paid a fortune.
Yep.
But it's the worry, as I say, these are now going to go and pulse at 1 billion times a second. So going from 10
What could
million,
possibly go wrong, Andy? It sounds safe as houses. Holy moly!
It's the sad thing, because unfortunately we just go along with everything, don't we? We expect that the experts are the experts. We expect that science is science, and we expect that the politicians are the politicians, and everyone's supposed to be there to look out for the people. Unfortunately, that's not the case. We all know we're not naive now. They're all outlining their own pockets, and they don't care who gets in the way. But it's one of those where we're giving the parents the capabilities to send the letters into their schools. They have to tell them if the activation is being done, or if it's going to be done, or when it's going to be done. Right. And you can stop the activation, but only the parents and the grandparents are able to stop the activation on their child's school. So if you've got a child in, say, a primary school or a senior school, and then you've got another one in university, you'd have to send the 3 letters off. So they're all covered. But the other thing we found as well is, obviously, there's loads of tests on the EMFs. The World Health Organization actually, in 2011, one of their departments categorized EMF as a category 2B for a carcinogen. So basically, they said it causes cancer. And this was all the legal the documents that they did. The telecommunications companies actually backed in 1996 the the WHO EMF project. So every standard that was set, even for today, is based on 1996. Now, bearing in mind, that was before 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, the Wi-Fi, obviously all of your electric cars, your electric meters, the amount of things that are all kicking off EMF, the mobile phones, all those tests were done before all of these devices came out, and they haven't been updated. So we either start to look out for the kids now, or whatever happens. And unfortunately, I don't see good things. When we've connected some of these things, you've got things, as I say, like fibromyalgia, which every man and their dog's now currently got. You've got autism, ADHD. So, it affects the brain scales, and it also affects all the electrical parts of the body. So your brain, your heart, your lungs, the list goes on. And the sad thing is, as I said, the World Health Organization, the National Institute for Health, the NHS, the governments, they are aware there's a code that they actually made for EMF, which is called EHS, electro hypersensitivity, is W90. Now, they won't use that, but it is there. So you can't have a code for something and then say nobody in the world's got it, because that doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not saying that your local doctor's colluding with the World Health Organization. That's not what I'm saying. But how many people have turned around and found they've got symptoms or something, and then they can't find the resolution of the issue, and then they go back in, they get given these tablets, and then it's still not got rid of the effects, and then they go back in again and we'll have to try you on these. Nobody's pointing in the right direction. They're all pointing at giving you tablets and giving you a long-term treatment, and as we know, they don't produce cures, do they? So
no,
they're making money that way. Yeah, so that's where we're
I mean,
at. We're just trying to give it.
Yeah, I mean, have you spoken to any activated parents? That's what I'm going to call them, i.e. parents who are where all this understanding, or much of it, has fallen in with them, and that are they galvanized to action? And if so, what kind of action do you think is possible for parents? I mean, it affects all of us, but it obviously is going to affect people with young ones more than anybody else, simply because they're the most vulnerable members of our society, as that rape report thing has shown as well. It's like there's an onslaught against us from at every level. But are there steps that parents can take? Is there any sort of route through for them at the moment?
100%. As I say, the letters we've done, they're on the website. The parents can go on there, and we have made it so the parents can literally copy it, paste it to an email. They would then just change the parts that I've put in purple so that it's a different colour, so people don't miss where they need to put their school name, or whether they need to put their name, their address, their contact details. Now, there is 16 emails, but I've shown people how to get it, what websites to go to get them, because it's Department of Health and Education, it's the counsellors, your local council, it's the governors, the school, the headmasters. So we've made it as easy for people to do. The only thing that, as I say, that we're not in a position to do is to send it ourselves on your behalf. So we've done the groundwork, we've done the homework, we've done the paperwork. It is literally for you to copy, paste, send. So it's 16, and I appreciate that might seem like a lot, which is why we'll put an explanation of what each letter does, what you'll actually expect back, and the process for it. But I think a lot of people are going to be absolutely surprised when they start getting some of this information back from the schools, and especially if they can't inform the parents that they've got a safety certificate, or if they haven't got the data that you're asking for. That should be enough of a question that you should be asking anyway, to be honest with you, because this is completely untested. It is 6 gigahertz, so it actually does affect the body. And as I say, because they're the smaller parts of society, and bear in mind as well, they're locked in the rooms with this. This is going to be in every classroom. Once they leave your hand, go into that school, they're subject to that all day, every day.
Right.
And it's
after these letters have gone, what's the end result? That the school take the masks down? I mean, I don't.
This is for the Wi-Fi. This is for Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7. So this is literally subject to them because, as I said, they've already done the installation. They're now done.
Yep.
So it's to try and stop the activation in the school. They generally do clusters when they start them up. So they do them between 50 and 300 schools. And they won't even tell us which schools are getting activated. This is the whole purpose of the parents sending the information off. My email's on the website as well, so any parents that do send them off and start getting letters back, and they may not even be able to fully understand what's coming back to them. But the good news is I've got a very good way of being able to find out what it is, and then, as I say, if they send them to me, I can then obviously put it into terms that they'll understand. I'll then email them back and show them exactly what's going on. But the main aim is to try and stop the activations. As I say, I'd love to say we can do all 10,000 and then that would all be done tomorrow and we don't have to worry about it. We can sit back and smoke cigars. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Only you as a parent, only you as a grandparent are the only ones that can stop the activation in your child's or grandchild's school. And bear in mind as well, they've got countries, France, Belgium, Cyprus, and Israel have banned the Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7 from going into their nursery schools and primary schools. They've banned it. They're all going for wired options. And that's the thing. This could all be wired internet and none of this issue would arise. So then you've got to ask yourself, why aren't they doing the wired internet? I mean, all the wires are there. So why aren't they making it so everything's wired? Why are they putting this extra EMF into the classroom? And as I say, throughout the whole school, there's no getting away from it once they're in. And as I say, you're leaving your child there. And the thing is, let's face it, we all know if someone had given your child a bit of a slap when they're at school, they came back home and said, I've got a clip on the ear roll, you'd be straight up there tomorrow. The issue that is, you can't see what's happening on the inside of your child's body until it's already past the point where it's not good.
So it's nothing but good news then, Andy. That's what you're saying, right? It's nothing but good news. Good grief.
The good news is we can stop it. You can stop it. You can do that deactivation. But as I say, you've got to do it. If you don't do it, I can't help you to protect your child more than what I've already done. The letters are done. They're prepared. All it is copy, paste, change the headmaster's name, the counsellor's name, your name at the bottom, your child's name, the school's name if it's going to somebody that's not directly the school. That's it. It's done. At least then, and obviously the school's got 5 days to respond. The other ones are got a maximum of 20 days. So, you'll find everything out within obviously a month to 6 weeks maximum. They have to give you all that information that you've asked for. And we've gone down the scientific side. As I say, Kel Marie's turned around and actually helped me with the lawful side, the legal side. So we've hit them with a double whammy. We've given them the science, we've given them the legal side. And now it's down to them to explain exactly what they're doing, how they're doing it, and put their hands in the air. So we're doing the best pressure that we physically can for you.
No, it's fantastic.
Essentially comes is when, if like my ex-partner, she then decides to take her son out of school, of course, the authorities then step in and say, well, you're not allowed to take them out of school, which is a bit, I suppose.
They can't put your child in danger, though. And this is the thing. You're only asking for the proof that we're asking for, which is the certificates, to prove that they've done a safety test, to prove that they've actually done the testing on children over a long period of time. None of these have been done. None of them. If they had, we wouldn't be asking for that information. As I said, Lloyds of London refusing to cover this in the schools. Why? Because if it wasn't an issue, what have they got to lose by covering it? But they can't force you to put your child in danger at the end of the day. And as I say, all you're asking for is the protection. And as a parent, you're entitled to have that. That's the whole point of you taking them, to put them in somebody else's safety while you may be at work or whatever. But you wouldn't, as I say, you wouldn't go and take them and go and get babysit off Jimmy Savile, would you? So, because you know what kind of...
I think it's the whole question of taking your most precious thing, and another are some parents that don't think like that. And I guess, I could be vicious and say they're not fit to be parents, but there are babies and small people are amazing. And it's as if it's a whole system to crush the amazingness out of the space. It's already involved with paperwork. It's supposed to be the most joyful sort of period, really, in a parent's life when they're toddlers. I mean, if I were a parent again today with a brand new one, they wouldn't be going in the school system at all. I mean, there'd be no point. My sons were sort of like at the tail end before it all started to really get ranky, which I guess has been mainly this century. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's a long time in the coming. I guess as well, it might be useful to know as head of all these things like the teachers' unions and why they're sat on their backsides and not doing anything. We've also got this ironic statement from Keir Starlin about protecting children by taking them off of social media. Talk about a farcical cover story. I mean, if he wants to protect children, this needs to be looked at that you're addressing right now, which, of course, there'll be too much money involved for anybody to be brushed off it. That's basically what I suspect is going on. And you said how many towers are going up? Was it 15 or 35,000 or something? How many are going up?
10,000 in the schools, 35,000 5G towers are being placed in the Congo currently as we speak. Where Ebola
I'm not going to the Congo. In the Congo, I'm not going to the Congo.
Well, what I found is the EMFs, if you actually turn around and you actually ask the AI, the artificial intelligence, that we get told to be scared of, but in actual fact, if you ask it the right questions, it can be a phenomenal tool. And if you turn around and say, as being an electrical being, how exactly would a virus affect every electrical part of your body? And then it gives you the full list of exactly what the breakdown is. So you can turn on, say, for Ebola, you can say for COVID, you can say for whatever virus you want. And then you then turn on and say, wow, that's exactly the same kind of symptoms as what you get for EMF poisoning. And it will then turn on and say, yeah, you're right. So this is the issue I've got. These big viruses all tend to come out, even going all the way back to the Spanish flu, the Russian flu, the Hong Kong flu. You obviously had SARS.
They changed frequencies, didn't they, on transmitters? I know that when Marconi...
Correct.
Because it's not, I can see it on a clear day from here, the Isle of Wight, right? And Marconi did his first test signals from there with these colossal transmitters. I can't remember what the wattage was, but it was huge. And I think his girlfriend or wife at the time had to leave because she was sick. She may have got seriously ill later on, but that's before they understood the impacts of all of these sorts of things. But I imagine that they got to grips with it pretty soon. And no doubt it was categorized as a peaceful contribution that could also be weaponized at the flick of a switch, metaphorically speaking. And that's really what they're doing now. When we were talking the other day as well, I'm sure I've read somewhere. I mean, you talking about 6G and 7G is kind of news to me. I'm an old fart. I haven't looked.
It's Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7. They're not calling it 6G. So this is the internal version in the classrooms. No, it is actually 6 gigahertz, but they're not calling it that. They're just calling it Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7. So that's the technology they use. But go on, you were saying.
Well, I was going to say that I'd read somewhere, I'm sure we mentioned this the other day, that the frequencies for these communication systems and these transmission systems could be arranged so that they actually augment the health of the individuals, that they're almost like the worst types of frequencies you could have. It must be by design to interfere with the electrical circuits of human beings and make us go scatterbrained. I mean, it's got there can't be a coincidence in this. We know about the rise in dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, all of these sort of nervous system things, which are basically, they've all got the same root. And the thing that you were mentioning with the change in the frequencies, I remember reading this stuff. I mean, the Spanish flu, what was that? Something was changed. In other words, these big outbreaks that we've... Yeah, they're all synonymous also with changes in technology on transmission systems in some parts of the world or others. The frequency itself is the thing that's disrupting the natural immune system of the body, and it can't deal with certain things, and therefore diseases arise. And yet, you've got to think that that's by design. I mean, because I do think that. I mean, why would I think anything else?
1950s to 1970s, they even studied this in the military because they started to use EMF as sort of weapons within there, and their own soldiers were being sick of it. Some of them dotting down dead with heart attacks.
That's right. I remember the soldiers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's on very fit men who've gone through a full constraints of exercise to get there. You weren't sending someone who was 35 stone out overweight, few health conditions. They were the fittest of the fit. And if they're getting sick, if they're jotting down dead of heart attacks, we're now going to put these in the classroom untested?
Mm-hmm.
That's the scary thing. And obviously, the last one that went round, we did actually see 8-year-olds when COVID-19 came about. We did see kids from the age of 8 having heart attacks, which I don't care what anybody says and anybody's nonsense is saying, they've always done it. They haven't. And I'm not going to stand even let anybody else turn on and tell me something. My lived experience is wrong, and it's always happened. As I said, I played quite a strenuous sport. You're aware. Played ice hockey for over 20 years. Travelled around the
That is quite strenuous, actually, Andy. Yeah, it's quite strenuous and shouty and fighty, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
it's a bit of that.
We call it banter. We call it banter.
Yeah, a bit of gay banter on the ice. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
But travelling around the world, there's not one. And as I say, we had an amalgamation of teams. We had under 12s, under 14s, under 16s, under 19s, under 20s. We had a B team. We had the females team. We had the rec teams, which from the universities and everything in the local area. So we had around about 15 teams in one of the rinks that my family ran. And not one heart attack from any hockey player over 20 odd years that I was playing the sport. But even then, my parents actually had, or my parents' family had the ice rink for over 60 or 70 years. It didn't happen. So I'm not going to tell you that when we're getting thousands of people through our doors every single week. It doesn't happen.
I just remember the football players going down and all that other stuff and everything. And you're just looking at, and again, it's the way that the media cover this stuff. They do this assumptive projection of stuff, and they paint a narrative that's completely false, but they do it in such an authoritative way that unfortunately a lot of people take it on board. But hold whatever thought you've got there now, because we're coming to the end of the first hour, where I usually play a song, and at the start of the show I didn't know what to play, and I've just been having a look as you were talking. I've got like 8 tracks here, so you've got 8 songs. No, you don't. I'm only going to play one. Anybody here got little feet? I haven't. My feet are enormous. Anybody got Little Feet? No. Anyway, Little Feet were a band back in the 70s, headed up by a guy called Lowell George, who died young from a heart attack. I don't think it was from EMF or whatever it was, probably substance abuse or something. It seems to have got most of them. This is called Lonesome Whistle. We're here on WBN 324. We're on fftradio.com, foodforthoughtradio.com. I'm here with Andy and Paul and Eric and Paul and Paul. Good grief, yeah, we got 3 Pauls in the studio. That is appalling. Anyway, we're going to listen to this, and then we'll be back in about 3 minutes' time on the other side of this one. It's quite groovy, I think. It's about trains and stuff. Trains. Well, one train.
I was riding number 9, headed south toward Carolina. I heard that long lonesome whistle blow. I got in trouble. I had to roam. Left my girl and I left my home. I heard that long lonesome whistle blow. Just a kid acting smart. I went and broke my darling heart. I guess I was too young to know. They took me off.
So there we go. Lonesome whistle and all that kind of stuff. Welcome back to the other side. I understand I had a technical cock up there. I'm hoping that somebody had two audio players playing at the same time, but apparently not. I don't know what's going on. This is why the show's only 2 hours tonight, because I'm at the end of my nervous energy. Anyway, chaps, welcome back to part two. If you're just joining us, we're running for just 2 hours tonight, so we're finishing at 10 o'clock, so you can all go to the pub. I was thinking about you all not going to the pub, and we wanted you to go to the pub just to see if it was still there. And I do think going down to the pub to watch the football is good, not to watch the football, but to watch people cry. This is really, really very amusing and all that kind of stuff. But we're here with Andy from WTFUP.co.uk. It is .co.uk, isn't it?
It is, yes.
It
the
is.
website's that, yeah.
It's cool. And we've just been talking about all that technology stuff and the effects on the children, and of course it's a biggie, really. It is a biggie. What do we do then? What do we do? What do normal people? I mean, I've still got a 4G phone, so I refuse to go to 5G. I don't want anything to do with it, although somebody who was a technical friend of mine years ago, there's nothing to worry about. But I can't sit around worrying about things, because that makes you get ill, doesn't it? So you don't want to do that. I don't know what we're going to replace all this stuff with. It's, as well, and it's following a repeat pattern, although this may seem sort of a bit thin. If you look at I've mentioned this before as well, if you look at the rise of local independent newspapers in the 1800s, at some point they all got amalgamated into these super media companies where it's all gone incredibly bad, and now you can't find out anything much. And it's the same really with the whole history of the net. The first sort of the net 1.0, from like 98, when people started to get into it with their little modems, through to about 2008, I suppose, something like that. Those first 10 years were absolutely brilliant. It really was a wild west, and fantastic for it. And now, of course, we have to be safeguarded from things. And of course, no doubt they will tell us that this new technology is safer. Have they started running that number at all, Andy?
I mean, they tell us everything's safe, don't they? Lab-grown meat. We should eat bugs. I mean, it's just anything that they say. It's just a case of doing the opposite. And it was only about 5 or 6 years ago that I just went along with everything that they said and did. I just started to do. And as I say, the COVID one was the big one for me. I ended up getting the 2 vaccines for my sins, and the second one sort of knocked me a little bit. I had pins and needles in my left arm, left leg for just over 2 years. And again, there was doctors that were being chastised at the time for turning on and saying, like those things like fenbendazole, ivermectin, all that kind of stuff was being mentioned at the time. Then it got dumbed down. People saying, no, you can't say that. And then the other one was a guy called Dr. Ardis. Well, I'd been to the doctors. They took my bloods. They wouldn't check for spike proteins, which I'd asked, even though I had my blood they must have had about 4 pints off me. And they just
You
said
got that much? You had that much, did you?
Well, all the time, yeah.
They do like to take it, don't they? They do like, every time I go in, can I have a bit more blood? I'm going, how much more do you bloody want? You took some yesterday. Oh, we've got to keep checking. No, you don't. It's just blood, and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, they are kind of vampires. At least they had a sense of humour when I was last in there going, oh, we are vampires. Yeah. So that warmed me a bit towards them. At least they had a sense of humour about it. But yeah, 4 pints is quite a bit.
It's one of them, isn't it? I kept on trying to find out why am I like this? Why have I got pins and needles every single day? Every day you feel like you're waking up and you're going to have an heart attack. And then obviously the other annoyance was obviously, again, another division where they were separating the vaxxers, the anti-vaxxers. And I've had people tell me, you're an anti-vaxxer. Well, I'm not. I got 2. I got damaged. And then, you then get people telling, oh, you're going to say it. Well, no, it happened. I've got the doctor's reports there. I've got all my medical records. And I said, I was just trying to find out what is in there that is doing the damage. And I saw the Dr. Ardis interview where he turned on and stated, I believe it was 2021, that they had actually found that nicotine. This was a test that was done by the World Health Organization.
Oh, you're talking my language, Andy. Yes, go on.
Well, that was it. So he said, he goes, put the patches on. It doesn't have to be the top dosage. It was the bottom dosage I went for, and it said take it over 4 weeks. Now, bearing in mind I've had this going on for just over 2 years. 4 days of taking them patches, disappeared, has never been back. So the doctors wouldn't tell me, they wouldn't give me the bloods and tell me what was in there. And yet I listened to a bloke that they all try to chastise and say he's an idiot, he's a quack and everything else. Well, you can only take things as you find, and it worked for me. So, if anybody else is having the same issue...
It works for most people. It does. It works. That's why I'm always munching knickknacks throughout the show and sometimes choking on them. And I'd rather choke than not have nicotine in my body. It's a bizarre thing to say. Actually, I had somebody come around the house today that they know me. We've run out. Can we come round and pick some up? I said, yeah, of course you can. But do it under the cover of darkness and everything. It's great. It's like, it's ridiculous. So they came round for their supply. It's great being the local drug dealer. I quite like it, actually. And they were very happy. Yeah, they said to me, are you getting addicted to them? I said, I bloody hope so. I said, I'm really working at it. I said, it's hard work. You've got to get stuck in. And she said to me, it was her and her husband. She said, I can't. We're taking more and more. I said, good, excellent. My cunning plan is working. It's fantastic fun. It's great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to say. There appears to be literally no side effects apart from a clearer mind, an unbunged nose, and you know that you're defending yourself against all sorts of stuff, having it run around in your bloodstream. That stuff is mega. We mentioned here before, didn't we? In fact, there was a word that Robin was looking for, panacea. The Greeks classed it, tobacco and nicotine, as a panacea. That means the ultimate cure-all for all things. And I know that's a bit of a wild claim, and we can't come out overtly and tell people why they should take it, but you can take it. And I think the other thing that's worth noting, which we've mentioned here before, is that I think it's about a year and a half back, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, the United States, and the jolly old United Kingdom, which is a political construct and doesn't exist in reality, it's a joke, have all signed some kind of agreement to get rid of tobacco and nicotine by 2030. I wonder why. I wonder if the pharmaceutical companies are very keen for them to get rid of it, because all the poisons and things that they're sending into us are hammered by this stuff, including, and I know this is a bit of a tall one, I don't know whether I really buy into it, but I like it anyway. Have you seen that video of nanobots in people's blood? And the nicotine goes in there, it just smashes them to bits. It's like the Godzilla of the immune part of the blood. Have you seen that?
Apparently they do destroy them. Yeah, I've heard that. Apparently, smokers were immune to pretty much everything that was going on around us at the time.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's time to go out and buy a 20 Regal and start buying the snouts. Or Players number 10. Those were the things that we started off with when we were children, behind the back of the bike sheds, coughing and feeling sick all the time. No, you don't have to do that if you don't want to, but it is pretty impressive. And I also saw a clip with Ardis recently where he was talking about just tobacco. He makes a tobacco poultice and slaps it on his head all over the place. He said, this stuff's great. Like, so I'm covered in nicotine all day long. I think it's cool, to be quite honest. It's really, really good. So come on, everybody out there. If you're not taking it already, get introduced to the miracle of it. It's a naturally occurring substance. And it's in all nightshade plants. It's in potatoes a bit, but to really do it properly, you need to go to nicotonic.com. For the finest supply of lozenges. Sorry about that. I've never done a cheesy ad before. So that was go on, Eric.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut it, but when you first take it, please hasten to add that you might have a few little minor side effects.
You can turn into a small mouse. It does change your body shape. Yeah, you can do that. You start squeaking a bit. You can have dizziness.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Did you have anything, Eric, when you first took one? What happened to you? You got that hair.
I had a full head of hair. Well, I was bald. Look
it came back.
Look at the Bouffant hairstyle. It just came straight back. It's a miracle. Yeah. But joking aside, I had a slightly tingly throat. And I think there must be something wrong at the back of my throat when it was dealing with it. So
what that is, that's a positive. All of these things. Look at me. I'm Steve the salesman, but it's a positive. What's occurring is all the crap that's in your system starts to come out, and it sometimes manifests as a constricted throat. I still get that every now and again. It's a bit like you can't swallow, like your Adam's apple swells up to the size of a grapefruit. No, it doesn't. I'm just really laying it on thick. You just have a slight. It's like you can swallow okay, but you can tell that it's a bit sort of. A bit like that, like when you've got a slightly swollen throat. You can get dizzy, and the best one is hiccups. Hiccups is the funniest one. I've got somewhere on my phone an audio recording of me having the hiccups, because they were so like out of a cartoon. They were ridiculous. They were very funny. I was laughing while it was going on. So, yeah, you can sometimes have those things. It all depends on your constitution and what the current state of play is with your body, which, of course, is, for all of us, likely to be a bit polluted, to be quite honest. So that's what it's doing. It's ridding the bloodstream of a lot of pollutants and crap, and it might take a little while for them to come out, during which you might have these sorts of slightly strange little symptoms. I think you would call them that, the symptoms, and yeah.
So, do you have a shop then, Paul, where these can be purchased, or do I need to get a bus down to you and sort of?
Oh, Paul, you can come on the show loads.
If
you feed me lines like that, that's just fantastic. This is like advertising manna from heaven. Yeah, you go to. We've got an online shop called Nicotonic. It's quite a good word, isn't it? I came up with that. Nicotonic.
Yeah, so when you came up with Nicotonic, I was expecting something blue to come along.
And it's very fast.
Now you've just moved into Eric's bailiwick.
Yeah, and it's very fast delivery.
Oh, it is. It's bloody fast. It is. Yeah, and I think we're going to be dropping our prices soon. You shouldn't use that as an excuse to put it off. So, yeah, nicotonic.com. Nicoton. I need to get it advertised on FFT radio, really, as well. We need to get it all. It's just a matter of knocking these things together. Before and after pictures. And we'll use you, Eric. Sorry.
Yeah,
I've got to stop going now.
Yes. Knick-Knack Naturals. Is that the one?
That's it, Knick-Knack Naturals. Yeah, Knick-Knack Naturals. They've just got a new tin design. I don't think we've got... The new tin's really rather swish. It's all about branding. It's a bit like cigarette packets, isn't it? But, yeah, it's cool. We like it. Anyway, they're really good. They're very civilised. You don't have to sort of have a big patch that you're sucking on. I mean, one of those pouches that you then spit out all over the place. I mean, if you do, if you're uncouth, and sometimes I have been known to be uncouth. But yes, it's we would suggest it's also better for the ladies because it's extremely discreet and nobody knows that you've got it in until you start coughing like I do. And then they go, oh, you've got another one of those things in your mouth, haven't you? Yeah, so that goes on. But
can you eat them
start off slow.
Can you have them when they're slightly out of date? Because one of mine's going out of date.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I actually... I'm used as the Hoover around here because obviously sometimes supply chains being what they are, we sometimes end up with a surplus of ones that have slightly gone past their best sell-by date. I mean, Andy, maybe we could start getting all the children taking them at school.
I used to.
Did you? I bet you did. That's why you ended up playing ice hockey.
Well, my
parents
used to have a corner shop, so I was a supplier in my school.
Were you? Oh, I like this. This is cool. Fantastic.
Which flavour would you recommend them, Paul?
All of them.
Well, I can tell you that Blood Orange, for reasons completely beyond us, is the number one bestseller. Everybody likes Blood Orange. Maybe they just like the word blood on the box or something, but Blood Orange is pretty nifty. Yeah, the peppermint's great. I mean, it all depends. It's great with a cup of coffee. I like the minty ones with my cup of coffee in the morning.
Really?
Also, I took delivery today of some really amazing coffee. My son's been pounding my earlobes for about 6 months. Will you buy some of this? Will you buy some of this? So I bought it, and it's not inexpensive, but they do it in one of those French press things. You know, I can't stand that stuff. I'm an old-fashioned fart. I bought a percolator about 6 months ago, which they don't use. I've got two sons, and they drink a lot of coffee. So I did sort of like a pint and a half of coffee this morning. There's still a bit of it left in the percolator, which will be getting warmed up tomorrow morning. I'm not squeamish about stuff like that. And it was really good. And I've been told that 1 cup of this coffee has got the same amount of antioxidants in it as 50 oranges, which is quite convenient because I used to eat 50 oranges for breakfast every morning. So it saved me the trouble of having to peel the buggers. But yeah. Yeah, so there you go. And antioxidants are pretty good for the blood too. There's a lot that we can do. It's whether we actually get off our rear ends and do it. And I include myself in that. You know, were we talking earlier about habit and behavior? Habits are just so... I think I was talking to someone earlier today about habitual behavior. It's something that keeps... It's kind of what's holding us stuck with a lot of things. You go, well, I've always done it like this. And you don't realise that you're on a program for yourself that you wrote yourself over 20 years. And you can't sort of shake yourself out of it. You get sort of self-institutionalized, I think, with your day-to-day behavior. So changing a few little things is tricky. Yeah, so anyway, it seems to work for me.
What's this coffee called? Where did you get it from? It sounds interesting.
It is. We were looking to try and handle another. It's. I can't tell you right now because I haven't got the packet in front of me, but I'll mention it next week because, you know, I like to sell coffee as well as nicotine. all sorts of stuff. It's not my company or anything, but it's a British firm. I do like that word. It's a British firm, and it's all organically grown. I paid about, the first one's like 50% off, so I think I paid about £8 for this thing, and it's quite a chunky amount. But it's you can get it fine ground, and it's fresh ground coffee. It's not instant coffee, so you'll need a vessel in which to boil it up. Whether you want a French press or whatever you want. Or, as I said, I like percolators because I like that push, push, push noise on the hob in the morning. I just love it. I love the noise. Actually, I'm addicted as much to the noise that I turn into a kid because when I was young, we used to have this aluminium percolator, which probably made my brain go funny. But everybody had them, and you can still buy these old ones, but they're aluminium, and so you don't really want to be boiling stuff in that. But you can they're great. I like percolators. They're like a little event going on in the kitchen whilst it's just building up, and you have to be patient. You remember that? Having to wait for things. It's not instant. It's the opposite of that.
Opportunity here. Do you know things from our youth, smells from our youth? Do you not think there's a real opportunity to get some fragrances back? Shall I tell you, one of the things that's really missing these days is the smell of creosote. Do you ever go past when someone's just done their fence, and then the bloke comes out and says, "Why you stood by my fence for 20 minutes?" I thought, well, I'm just smelling the creosote, to be honest with you. It was just an amazing smell.
Yeah, you're glad you've come on, Andy, haven't you? You're glad you've come on talking about creosote now, actually. But Paul, you make a really good point. I love it. I'll tell you what I did see the other day. I mean, because I'm an old fart. I was 16 in 1976 when there was that long hot summer thing. And there's some sort of little channel on YouTube now is sort of using AI to recreate these things. And I said, it wasn't like that. I'm watching it now. It wasn't exactly like that. And they were banging on with all these statistics about how dry it all was. All I remember was just having a lot of fun kicking a football around and being thirsty all the time and not being short of water. There was plenty of water. And Corporation Pop, we used to call it. I'm just going down for some Corporation Pop. And it was just grand. It was the best year to be 16 and do your O-levels because we got 10 weeks off. And by the end of it, I was the colour of a very brown, dark berry. And I quite enjoyed that. It was great. Yeah, it was a good old year. It was also the year of punk rock, wasn't it, 1976? Which is not something I necessarily celebrate at all, to be quite honest, but I thought that was the year of that complete mess of an event. I hated it.
It makes you feel better, because I'm still thinking about my job with the Samaritans at the moment. That was the year I was born. If that makes you feel better.
It does. I don't mind. They say age is just a number, but it's not. It's your age. However, it's very strange because Eric will know this as well. Those of us who are in our seasoned years, I like that phrase, so I'm going to keep using it. Those of us who have got a few years under our belt and know what we're talking about now. No, we don't. Not all the time. But this thing about time, it gets weirder. You keep waking up thinking, you're like, I don't know. It's like things that happened when I was 16 are like yesterday. Everything's compressed in the memory. I can remember everything, and I'm going, whoa, this is, It's funny, though, having huge amounts of memory in your head, which you didn't have when you were 16. That's why you're a spontaneous maniac. That's what makes it so much fun. You don't know stuff, so you're banging around, aren't you? Yeah.
But it's weird being the same age as old people. That's what I find very difficult to come to terms with.
It is. It is. Yeah. Eric, do you sometimes go, look at those old people over there? You go, oh, hang on, just a minute, I better take a look here.
It's stars that you and you think, bloody hell, they're getting on a bit. They look really decrepit now.
Well, it's like, well, do you not find, I know you don't use public transport, Chris, but do you find that, when you're in your youth, it's the back seat of the bus you go to, isn't it? But as you get older, you start to look and think, something, that priority seat's looking very tempting these days. Get out of there, Granny, will you?
I like the way you brought public transport into it, Paul, though. That was really cool.
I do
move. That was great.
Yes,
No, it's good. It's fine. Well, they all used to smoke back then, didn't they, on the buses? It was just upstairs was if you wanted to stink by the time you got to work, and sometimes people did. But it was just like you couldn't see up there. It was just absolutely ridiculous. Bus conductors would go, I've got to go upstairs now. Like I needed an oxygen mask. It was fantastic. I didn't mind. It was okay. Don't go up there if you didn't like it. We always used to run to the front of the bus on the top because you want to see out the bus. That's when you're a kid. No, I was doing that when I was 20, actually.
Did you ever?
It's good.
And of course, they used to have the little periscope, didn't they, to look up the driver to look upstairs. Did you ever plonk a shoe or a book or something like that on top of that just to really, really annoy the driver?
Well, no, but now I know who it was that was doing that, Paul. Now we know who's responsible for those shoes on the periscope moments that were reported in the local press. Again. Yeah. Actually, my uncle was a bus driver. And I had 3 Uncle Jacks, and he was one of them. And he was a bus driver for a while. He also worked in a power station shoveling coal. Very dry sense of humour. But he once told me about this horrific incident, and it scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Somebody in the bus yard, this is not a nice story, but so I'm going to tell it, right? Somebody there was a guy on a bicycle, and he fell off his bike, and his head went under the back wheel of a bus as it was moving forward, and it literally just exploded. Yeah. My Uncle Jack said he came back and he was sort of going, and he told me that in front of my dad, and my dad said, "Jack," and I'm going, "What? The heads explode?" I didn't know, but so it was not good. That was a not good thing. I just thought you all ought to know. There's a tale you can take into your weekend. So yeah, that was when I was about 7 or 8 years of age. He told me that.
It wasn't tomato soup for tea that night, then.
No, it was not tomato. I haven't touched a drop since then. I haven't touched a drop. Andy, when we were talking the other day, and you touched upon it here, and you might not want to talk about it, but I thought it was a blast of a chat. Your involvement with ice hockey, yeah?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting was the fact that you come from an ice hockey dynasty. I thought I'd really big you up there. But it's your family was heavily involved with British ice hockey, wasn't it?
Yeah, my granddad actually built 2 ice rinks in the northeast, and obviously we had the 2 ice hockey teams from there, and we also then ended up getting a 3rd team, which we put into another rink. Right. We took that over, so we had the 3 northeast teams really: Durham, Whitley Bay, and Billingham. So yeah, it was quite a. I was never going to be playing football. I wouldn't tell you what my dad used to turn on and say if I said I was going to. I mean, it was one of those, you're not going to play that sport, son. You're not a puff. You were rolling around with the soft on. So I went round and got my face punched in on a regular basis on a weekend just for the crack. Do you know that?
Yeah, what a lad. Fantastic. I wouldn't have done that, but I mean, yeah, no, it's an awesome sort of thing. It's good. Not a young man's sport, I would have thought. Mind you, they do play until they're reasonably old. I suppose they fight better when they've been on the ice longer, don't they? All that kind of stuff.
Different criteria. I mean, obviously, I started from the age of 7. I was playing for the under-12s at the time. And then obviously they then brought a new team in called the under-10s. So then obviously you've got like the 10s, 12s, 14s, 16s, 19s. Then obviously you got the B team. Then you obviously got the females, and then you got the senior team. But you get we came through in lines. So like the 5 lads I was on the same line as, you ended up being really close. You didn't really have to look where the other one was to get a pass, and we were pretty good. You know, we did go around win tournaments quite regularly. I lost my first game when I was about 14. So I didn't take that very well. I can tell you that, because I was captain at the time. So we didn't lose the next game. I can tell you that. But it's a close community. I mean, when I stopped, I just dropped out of it altogether. But you know, you could really go on with the lads, and it was you were proper bonders. You had 22 lads where, you know, if one of you got a clip and they took one of the kids out, then you knew you were going to go in and take somebody's head off and get 2 minutes in the penalty box and then come back on and do it again.
Going back to what you were talking about in hour 1, were there some incidents with some young lads playing ice hockey where they had heart attacks or something like that? Was it ice hockey that you were talking about?
In Canada. So when the actual COVID came round, it was about 6 months after the lockdown. And what had happened was, obviously, I think the Canada and the American schools had gone back earlier. And when they'd gone back, basically one of the kids was playing a game in the college league. So he was like 16, 17, and he dropped down dead in the middle of the ice. So they had a testimonial the week after, or a memorial, whichever one it is. And there was a child, the same thing happened to him, dropped down dead heart attack, literally with 2 lads within 2 weeks, fit as fiddles, because they have to be over there. You know, they do take it very seriously over there, the junior levels.
Mm-hmm.
But to have that happen so quickly, and then you start to see, because obviously I'm on a few hockey pages, and you do sort of see these lads that they're dropping down. As I say, Canada, there was a couple in Czech Republic, there was a couple in Russia, and you're just like, that just doesn't happen. It just didn't. It didn't happen. It did not happen the whole time I was playing, and I can't say that they're less fit than we were there, because we didn't take to the extremes of what they do now. You know, we didn't have the luxuries of all these gyms that you've got open 24/7, and you know,
sure,
the training that they're able to do. So there are peak fit levels. There really are peak, and you know, you don't get peak athletes just drop down dead. I don't care what anybody says; they just don't do it. We got some peak athletes over here. Do you know, you look at the Olympics and things like that. We've got peak athletes in every sport.
Yeah.
So the fact that they can get there, but even as I said, the marathon, that you weren't seeing people just dropping down dead in the marathons, and now they're all amateurs. So then when you go and take another scene, you see all these pros go and drop down dead. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's too convenient for it to be. And as I say, one of the EMF side effects is it does affect the weakest part of the electrical part of the body, which, as I say, if that's your heart, then the heart attack's the measure it's going to be. If it's your brain, then obviously it's going to breach the blood-brain barrier. If it's your nervous system, that's when you're going to get ME, Parkinson's. And obviously you've got the people with the weak muscles, and obviously that's where you get the things like fibromyalgia. So these are all things that we just didn't have. As I say, I mean, people when I was younger, they used to die, but we were like lemons, weren't we? Because people would die in a car crash, or you know, it was extreme rather than that, or they died in their old age in the bed.
Yes.
Not, you know, that was just how people went, and they were still living into. You know, they're trying to tell this generation now, oh, there's nobody lived until they were like 90, 100. That's an absolute codswallop. They used to have blinking someone every week on the North East News turn on and telling you if there's somebody reached 100, they're going to get a telegram from the Queen, and then they stopped doing that. So it's just like, no, everyone just lives until they're 80, but you've got to work until you're 70. All right, nice, smashing. So I'm going to work all my life. And this is the thing, they literally want us to, from cradle to grave, without collecting anything, and that includes the pensions. They just want you to work the whole of your life, be distracted by everything, so they can roll out. Like you see, even with the cigarette and the smoking, you know, they've banned nicotine when there's a guy proved that nicotine works. Everything they do is a total opposite of what the actual truth is. And it's like,
this is
a hard
true.
pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow. It really is, because as I say, I was the other side. I was the other way. I can't say other side. I was the other way. I was naive. I agreed with everything. Do you know what I mean? I just went back, sat back. I didn't vote because I knew they were all corrupt. But then you sort of start looking into exactly how far they're corrupt. And I'm actually going to be starting to do a new segment on my new page that I've got, which is going to be Wake TF Up Sovereign Signal, and it's going to be called Red Pill, Blue Pill, Bitter Pill, and they're basically going to be going through exactly what every story about how we lost the water, how we lost the gas, how we lost the electric, the deals that were done, the shadiness, and basically break down so people can actually understand we're not a country anymore. You can wave that flag as much as you want. You're waving a flag for a corporation. You're not waving it for a country. We don't own the gas. We don't own the electric. We don't own the coal. We don't own the what do you call it, the BP. We don't own our rail. We don't own our post office. We've been sold out, and by the same people who are lobbying the government are the same people who now own all of our stuff, and then they're selling it back to us by telling it it's our fault. Well, I don't make any plastic, mate, so you can't turn around and tell me paying 40 pence for a plastic bag is saving the environment when I wasn't paying for the plastic bag. I was an absolute swine, and I'm still a swine now, paying 40p for the bag. And you're like, how about we just don't make it with plastic that's going to take 500 years to degrade? Why aren't we using hemp plastic?
Well, do you remember
because
years ago, you go into your local town and you'd have your veg and fruit shop where you just go in and pick, I don't know, 5 apples and put them in a paper bag, and then you go and pick up some potatoes, or you'd have a sack of potatoes delivered, and it did last you for months and months and months.
Yeah.
But now, of course, I mean, I don't use supermarkets, but when I used to use supermarkets, everything's wrapped in plastic, and then they say, well, you need to recycle it then. Well, don't put it in the first place, and that's all. Am I allowed to swear? That's all nonsense as well. The recycling crap.
Very good.
Do you know what I mean? Because
yeah.
Because if there's I've been thinking about this for a long time now. That if you've got one bin wagon, one recycling bin wagon, what do they carry? About 8 tons, 12 tons, something like that. I don't know. A place like a city the size of London must have, I don't know, 50,000 bin wagons. That might be a bit too many, but so if each one of those wagons is collecting 18 tons or 12 tons of recycling, there'd be piles and piles of this stuff lying about in yards, waiting to be sifted and sorted to be recycled. Where is it all? And that's just one city. You've got London, Birmingham, Liverpool, Manchester. There should be mounds and mounds and mounds of this stuff.
They've been sent
abroad. Never see it.
It's been sent abroad. Over 50% of our waste actually goes abroad. It's actually 63 or 64%. So we're told that we're going to save the planet, and yet what we're going to do is create waste from the same people who have actually made the waste. They're going to profit from the contract of the waste. Then what we're going to do is we're then going to go and take it and dump it into another country. Like Turkey's got a massive overspill of our waste. And you're like, so you paid for the oil and the fuel for it to go on a boat to get across there, to then just go and dump it in another country. And because we can't see it, it's like everything out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. Well, as you say, it is the questions that we should be asking. And if we don't start asking these questions, because once people realise that we've just been taken for idiots. We have been taken for an absolute idiot, aren't we?
Well, I don't think we are. I don't think we are here. It's just that we're surrounded. Unfortunately, we're outnumbered at the moment by people that keep compliantly accepting the words of so-called human authorities. Mark sent me a film the other day that when he was out at the weekend, he went along to some presentation. It's called The People's Emergency Briefing. Anybody heard about that yet? You heard of it?
Not yet.
It's a film. You know that guy, Chris Packham, yes. I was going to swear. A man that I don't have much respect for. Let me put it that way. He's a buffoon. He's a complete buffoon. And he's a BBC buffoon. And he's part of it, right? Mark sent me some links. I haven't posted. I don't think he's posted them through to the FFT Telegram group. They need to go in there. Somebody went in and actually filmed it from their mobile phone. It's a film that's going around and being shown all over. And he said, you've got to go see this. He said, because the brainwash, the social engineering in it is off the charts, right? And so the great and the good are going around. Mark did mention to me that he's of the view that it's funded by the WEF, so obviously we can rely upon this, right? And it's just full of all this pseudo-scientific junk being communicated with great conviction by people that can't read science papers and don't understand anything. And this is that sort of hysteria. It's the same hysteria that caused everybody to put masks on instantaneously without questioning anything. It's the same thing. People don't question, they just obey, and then they think about it afterwards, go, I made a mistake there. This is part of the problem. Anyway, it's being shown. I checked it. It's going to be shown here, I think, next week, June the 23rd. When's that? 5 days away from now. So that's probably Monday or Tuesday. And a local community centre. I'm thinking of going along. It's about 45 minutes long. He said, you've got to see it. But he sent me a copy of the file. Mark, this woman, a politician, he didn't give me a name, I don't really care, they're all sort of the same, aren't they? She stood up and she said, well, the latest figures show that China is now getting 50% of its energy from wind and solar, and Mark had to stand up and said 5%. She said, no, 50%, he said 5%. He said, if it's 50%, why are they building all these coal stations? He said they've built 500 to 700 coal-fired power stations in China over the last 3 to 4 years. They're putting them up at the rate about 250 a year or whatever it is. It's an astronomical number, whereas we now don't have any, right? She said to him, they're transitioning. What are you on about, love? They're transitioning. Oh. Yeah, that's why they spent all that money building coal-fired power stations. But that guy, the guy I mentioned earlier who was on, Lord Monckton, right? Monckton's fantastic with this stuff because he actually is a scientist and he's written scientific papers on the environment. And this is where he's absolutely spot on. And he was talking today, and I think we mentioned it, I last quoted him about 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he was previously on. And he said, we actually produce 50% more energy that we need already with wind and solar. We don't need any more. I mean, it's such an incompetent sort of energy production system anyway. And then you've got Ed Millipede. Apparently, this was on my Graham show. They've come up with a new unit of measurement for stupidity. It's called the millipede. Right? I think he called it the milliband, right? So the milliband is a rating for how stupid you are. He's the patron saint of stupidity. This is a guy who wouldn't know one end of a test tube from another. He's an absolute imbecilic moron and a globalist and a Marxist and a Fabian. And he just ticks every box for the wretched globalist, club. And they're all at it. And he said, you've got to go watch it because the crowd's going to lap it up. This is happening. Temperatures are going up. We're all going to die. We've all got to cut back. It's simply a way. And, this goes all the way back to Yuri Bezmenov, Eric. This way of demoralising the West. What they've got us to effectively strangle our own economic ability by selling people this stupid, completely unproven idea, which all it is, it's just a bit of hokum, that the whole planet's coming to grief because little England and Scotland are ruining it all. And people lap it up. They're like, give me something to be guilty about. Oh, it's great. Oh, yeah, we're really bad. And people go around propagandising their own doom. Well, I don't know what you can do with people like that. They're salesmen. Yeah, they're just salesmen for their own stupidity. So if you look, it's called, I'll say it again, it's called the People's Emergency Briefing. I'm sure if you do a search, you'll find something on it somewhere. I don't think the film has been officially uploaded on YouTube, although it may have by now, or it will do at some point. And you've got the lisping Chris Packham just talking tripe, as he usually does, and being all sort of, BBC, and apparently he's some authoritative voice. He's a complete plonker. And they all are. I mean, it's like, what... what can we do? What can you do?
So what's the name of that title again? Sorry, I didn't.
It's called People's Emergency Briefing. People apostrophe S Emergency Briefing. You'll find it. I think someone's uploaded it to Rumble, but it's not the official film. It's them filming it with their mobile phone at a recent thing. But you can get the gist of it anyway. I mean, if you can stomach it.
I remember Paul. I remember Mark saying that, and he said it's just hogwash. It was propaganda at its at its best in many ways. Unbelievable.
Well, one of the questions I remember on your show the other week, Chris, we were talking, and I said to you about they put all these wind turbines up. But does anybody actually ever see any cables connected to them?
No, but
how do they get it to the national grid? Because from what I've seen, they're not connected. They're just put there to be unsightly, and 10 years down the line they'll need replacing because that's their life expectancy. But does anybody ever see any of them connected up anywhere?
No, I've just done a red pill, blue pill, bitter pill version on them, to be honest with you, to give people a reality check to actually understand exactly what's in them. So at the moment, you've got the concrete, so they have between 1,000 and 1,500.
Andy, your sound's gone a bit wonky. No, it's okay. You can't help it. It's just the internet thing. If you leave the studio and come back in again, I'll put you straight back on the stage. But your sound's just gone a bit. You've got a bad case of packet loss or something like that.
I'm just trying to work out to get it all out here.
Oh, it's calmed down a bit now. You were just breaking up a bit. There we go. I'll be back again in a second. It's always worth taking that precautionary measure. But yeah. So get yourself along to see that, everyone. I bet you're all giddy about that. But you can go and see the sort of numpties that are going to watch it and lap it up. That's who I'd be looking at. I'm looking at the crowd, trying to try and find out just what the state of play is in between their ears. And it's probably going to make for a miserable assessment, I think. I don't know what you're supposed to do. If people can't, if they can't actually work things out like that, it's a bit difficult. Andy, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
It's great to have you back. We missed you. We really did. It was awful. We were all a bit sad about it. You were saying something anyway, probably intelligent, which is more than what we've been doing, but yeah.
I've actually done a piece on the wind turbines to actually expose the lies. So I've done a red pill, blue pill, bitter pill version for one of my little. I'm basically trying to dissect every single thing that we've been told lies on, and trying to give the people the actual truth of what they've not told us.
Right.
As in the numbers of things, as I say, so that they've got 1,500 tons of concrete for each one of these turbines alone. You've got then, and this is one, I mean, you probably might want to tell a certain level of people, but they actually have between 4 and 10 tons of copper in each turbine. I mean, if anyone wants to go and come along with me and try and weigh a couple of them in, we'll get a fortune.
Oh, that's a quite interesting thing. There'd be more bloody use in your pocket than it would out there farting around. I mean, they're a joke, those things.
Well, I'm just trying to, if there's anybody listening there that is in the scrap business that might actually want to weigh some of them in, just giving you the heads up. There is 4 to 10 tons of it.
Don't say you don't learn anything on this programme, ladies and gentlemen. It's full of incredibly interesting information. Not that we're suggesting anything, it's just something to note.
And you can hire 20 flatbed trucks from...
Sharing is caring. That's all I can say. Sharing is caring. There's 45 to 70 tons of fiberglass and resin. You've got rare earth magnets, which are actually the ones that are the neodymium, which are the ones that you saw Mark Steele using to check to see if people had the metals in their arm where the shot was. And another one called dysprosium. Also, it doesn't allow for the transport ships, which burns heavy fuel oil. You then also got the cranes, the size of buildings. You've got the access roads that they literally carve into the landscape. So, we're going all green, but we're going to take half the countryside out to go along with it. And also, the main thing is we've actually paid over £500 million to these companies. And the reason being is because it says when the wind doesn't blow, we pay. When the wind blows too much, we pay. And when the grid can't take the surge, we pay. When the turbines are offline for maintenance, we also pay. And when they're decommissioned early, they're supposed to last 30 years, and the average is between 10 and 15 years. So they're lasting between a third and a half of the actual life that they're supposed to be. And anything over 10 years, the maintenance costs go through the roof. It's cost us a fortune. It's just one huge, massive lie. And until people start to see the truth in the numbers, and also the fact that they're literally stealing good farmland, moorland, the coastal ridges and the rural communities, we're just getting laughed at. As I say, the rich don't ever do anything unless they're going to make them richer. And every time they get richer, we get siphoned and made poorer.
Yeah, I mean, I think my sort of take on it is that they obviously are very keen on acquiring as much currency and purchasing power as they can seize out of our pockets. But the main goal is to actually weaken us so that we're wiped out. That's the sort of, it's not the main step, like what's there going to be left to buy once they've actually knackered the whole of Europe, which, because it's not, we're not alone in this, I suspect.
No, they're doing it around the world. But you've got to remember, once they've got the land, they keep on saying, what do they keep on saying? We're basing our subscription. We're an employee and we're under a subscription. That's all it is. And once they've got all the land and they're taking the prime land at that, then that means we're going to have to, we'll never be able to buy that land, but we'll be able to rent it. And they've then got a complete subscription for the whole of the planet. They're just sitting back.
Oh, well, they probably mean well, Andy. They're probably thinking about us and they really care. I'm sure their PR documents will say that. We say, look, this is all for your own good, all this, that, and the other. I mean, that we kind of step really as well in a way into Robin Hood's field, which is to look at a robust application of the actual law to begin to cause their system to seize up and to throw it back at them. And, as I've mentioned here a few times, if you're looking for something to do, ladies and gentlemen, take your pick, because everywhere you look, there's something that needs action and acting upon it. And, this is a key one, hence Food for Thought Radio. If we don't have access to the land, we've got no food security. And it kind of starts with that, because with the best will in the world, if you run out of food after a few weeks, your army's finished. They kind of know that. They really do know that. Was I banging on last week about Clarkson going to Holland? I think I wasn't I? So I won't bang on about it again. Did I mention that last week, Eric? I can't remember.
Yes,
did
I?
Actually,
yeah.
I won't go over it. Yeah. I haven't watched one since then. I was just still basking in all the amazement of all that kind of stuff. I spoke to Mark about it as well. There is something sort of distant, mechanical, and sort of android and robotic about it, which is rather distasteful. I accept that. But by the same token, and this gets into this AI lark, right? We have to use it. Ladies and gentlemen, I think to some degree you've got to start finding ways to make use of it, because if we don't, they'll use all of it and we won't have any of it left, and they're just using it to get a jump on everybody. Although I think these data center things are doomed. They're absolutely nuts, the whole idea of them. And just in terms of their consumption of electricity. The thing is, as well, do we actually really know the true electricity figures? We haven't got a bloody clue. I mean, all of their supposed, independent agencies that report this thing, are they independent anymore? I mean, they've tunneled out every other sort of power centre. So it's almost, you end up just going, I can't actually accept anything. I mean, the BBC the other day were caught. This came up, I think, recently on one edition of Question Time. That fantastic show that has never had a question of any coherence ever asked on it. So you should get them under the Trade Description Act. They're all just bits of cocky political crap. They planted 2 migrants in the audience to undermine a guy that was talking about, restriction on immigration into the nation. And I'm just tapping into a comment. Was it that Alice made last week about illegal immigration? Was it Alice? I think it was. It's the illegal thing is a complete misnomer. It's all of it. It's all of it. And in fact, Eric, and I'm just bigging up your show, we're going to do a topic on this, aren't we, on Sunday night? I think we're going to sort of cover this a little bit. Yep. Yeah. Because one of the patterns that we share with Greece and Rome and Mesopotamia and even Babylon, because they all start off good before this virus gets into them, is that we're suffering exactly the same fate and for basically the exact same reason, which is that we've allowed aliens to move in and live with us. Now, you and I haven't done that, dear people, and in fact, you may recall that since 1945, the people of this country, England in my case, have never ever been asked. And of course, you get all this assumptive sort of projection by the media, like we're improving it. No, mate, it shouldn't have even happened in the first place. This is that kind of thing. So I know it's a sensitive topic, maybe not with this audience, but it is out there in the wider world. It's quite a sensitive topic because I still don't think they've found the words to describe it accurately for what it is, because it's going to harm everyone. It's going to harm everyone. And I think, I'm just coming back to what we were talking about as well in the first 15 and 20 minutes. You may have caught some of it, Andy, that this rape report from Reform is a major document which will be underplayed or dismissed or just shoved, metaphorically to page 42 of the main press in small print in the bottom left-hand column, that kind of thing. And yet it's a major indicator of what we're facing, which is a systemic evil. This aspect of it with the technology abuse, all these things that have been created out of, I would say, the Western European mind and hard work, the bulk of it has. All of these things which are there really to enhance the quality of our life have been seized upon by an administrative sort of middleman that's hell-bent on sending us to hell, it would seem. I don't know how, that's just the way I described it today, but that's definitely what's going on. And I know we talk about warfare in terms of the military aspect, but we're in the biggest war ever. I mean, I don't know how to, because everything's been weaponized against us. Everything to undermine your morale, your sense of place in the world, your connection to your culture and your people. It's all to be hammered. So that's what we've got to do. We've got to gob off back in the opposite direction for starters. We've really got to do that.
There's a lot less people about as well. I mean, I guess, obviously we know that these migrants are being brought over for sinister reasons.
Yeah.
I guess one of the things that comes out of that is that they're using them to boost the population up so people don't realise how much the population's diminished. I mean, I can walk to
the actual population, it's the Great Replacement Programme. We're being replaced. And yet the numbers look the same. And you go, yeah, but the actual constituent of the cake is different. And you never asked us about this. And of course, they've cut off many of the agencies and sort of channels that we would have had to get redress of grievances. And our grievances are many now, and they seem to be multiplying with every passing day, and they're huge. And yet the very authority systems that are supposed to safeguard us against that are captured. They're absolutely captured. I mean, the conduct of the police, you can't really call them the police as anybody really knows them within relatively recent living memory. Ever since they've replaced them, the entire culture is one of a hostile force against a captured population, isn't it? Or am I over-egging the custard? It seems to me that it's like that.
I think the police are a shower of shit, to be honest, if that's the best description.
That's a bit vulgar, but I don't disagree.
After the water shot, won't we?
Shower of shit here.
I'm shocked, Paul. It's very robust language for this show. We're always very polite, but yeah.
I do apologise.
But who's making the money from all this? This is the question I like to go back to ask, you see, because when you start to actually break it down, I mean, if you look at all the places where they're coming from, Afghanistan, we've bombed them. Iraq, we've bombed them. Libya, we've bombed them. Syria, we've bombed them. Yemen, Somalia, Sudan, Haiti. So somebody's made money there, because every war, the same people make the same money. Then obviously they're then able to come across, if you come from Somalia, I think they've got to get across 12 different borders. Now, I'm not being funny. If anybody wants to prove me wrong, by all means do so. If you want to get on a boat and see if you can get to Somalia from here without being thrown into a prison or told that you're going to get... So they're being allowed through. And then obviously when you realise that all of the West, we are being peppered, and we know this, it's not... But if someone's fleeing war, and I know it's not going to be the case for everyone, some of them are going to be opportunists, some of them are going to be with seedier motives and everything else. But when you then look at when they land... You then got the private companies like Serco, G4S, Mears, Clear Springs. Those places are charging us, the taxpayer, £150 to £500 per person per night. So who's benefiting from the amount that's coming across?
Yeah,
that's the question.
Well, they're using our own resources to carry out our own execution. We're paying for our own demise through the deception of apparently trustworthy intermediaries and organisations and non-governmental organisations and all these things. Like the WEF needs to be declared a terrorist organisation. The Bank of England is a terrorist organisation. These are criminals.
I agree.
And the language is not harsh enough, you see, in the media. It never will be because they've got control of that. But they're criminal because they're in breach of the actual law. They are conducting fraud 24/7. The banks are. And the idea of sort of dealing with all of that is, I don't see how we can. It's such an evolved and mature system of deceit, and it seems to have wriggled, unfortunately, into the thoughts of so many people that they just want to sort of be good at this game. And it's like we've mentioned here before, the people that are the hardest to reach are actually the ones we need the most. Our most competent people have applied their competence to the game without ever really questioning it. And they've succeeded at it. And how can you get through to them? But I have this, my life works. I don't have to live with these people. And they would never come out and say that overtly, but this is the case. I mean, there was an interview I saw with Rupert Lowe. Sorry to keep mentioning him, everybody, but it was a good clip anyway. It didn't have to have been him. With that bint from the BBC. She was having a go at him, the blonde-haired one. I can't remember her name. And she was having a go at him about, his policies about repatriating people. That's a word I've used. So I don't know what word he used, but there you go. And he said to her, you're not representative of anybody. He said, you live almost basically in a gated community. You don't even live amongst these people. You're the ones who want to do this. It's I suppose the old word is hypocrisy, but even hypocrisy is not harsh enough. And I think as the story comes out, we're going to see it's going to affect everybody. All the people, the great and the good, supposedly, are the ones that are doing the terrible and the evil by either indifference or they are fully signed up to it as an agenda, all that kind of stuff. We're near the end of the show, actually. How about that? It's odd for me to say, but I'm quite glad of it in a way. Not because I don't like doing the show, but it had to be 2 hours tonight for all sorts of reasons, and it might stay at 2. I'll keep you all posted on that. Andy, we've got about 30 minutes before we go to play out music, or 30 seconds, I should say. It's been great having you. When are you on air again next? Do you know? Are you booked in to talk about this anywhere else?
As yet, not at the moment. As I say, I'm happy to come on and speak to anybody regarding it. I've got the paperwork on the website, which is waketfup.co.uk. As I said, at the moment as well, we've just built a new Facebook. To be honest with you, Facebook is not my forte. So I've managed to get some help there off Kel Maria. So if you come to Wake TF Up Sovereign Signal on Facebook, you catch us there, and I'll do everything I can to help you out.
Fantastic. That's wtfup.co.uk to find out more about what Andy's doing in these 16 letters. And it's a great effort, Andy. It's fantastic. It's been great having you on and really just getting to know you over the last couple of weeks as we've done a couple of shows together. I've really enjoyed it. It's been fantastic. Thanks also to Paul. Yeah, no, it's great. Thanks also to Paul for rocking up. It's great. And to Eric, of course. We'll be back again at 8 o'clock next week. And I'll let you know how long we're going to run for next week. It might go back to 3, but as I said, my schedule's filling up, and this feels a more natural time to finish, actually. Although you may be all miserable about it. I don't know. If you are, just email me, studio@paulenglishlive.com, and say, Paul, you lazy bastard. Why can't you do 3 hours? But there's more to come, so we'll keep you posted. Keep well, everybody. We'll be back here again, same time next week, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.